Once upon a time, in a small village, there was a king who had a habit of reacting quickly to things and letting his emotions control him. It was easy for him to get upset over small things, even to the point of sentencing people to death, because of simple mistakes. One day, a well-known wise old man visited his kingdom. The wise old man was known throughout the country for his wisdom, teachings, and morals. When the king heard the wise man's arrival, he eagerly invited him to have dinner in his palace. The wise old man graciously accepted the invitation. In the evening, while they sat down to eat and discuss matters, a fly accidentally fell into the king's plate. The king became angry when he saw a fly in his soup, and he shouted loudly at his servant, "Don't you see that there is a fly in my soup? How can you do that?" The servant began to tremble with fear and said, "Oh, my lord, the fly was not there when I served the soup." But because the king was so angry, he did not understand this matter and did not show any sign of overcoming his anger. He threw the soup on the ground. The wise old man watched the situation and then calmly intervened and addressed to the king, "Your Majesty, it was not the servant's fault. The fly fell later after the servant served the soup. You must not let such trivial matters spoil your mood and make you feel extremely insulted." The king responded with frustration and said, "But sir, I cannot bear such things. Even a fly can change my mood and spoil it." The old man smiled. Gently he answered, "It is not the fly that spoiled your mood, but your reaction to it that spoils your mood. You have the ability to control your emotions, my lord. Don't let your emotions control you. Instead, you must control your emotions." The king spoke, expressing his opinion and his struggle, and said, "But I cannot control my anger. If I try to suppress my anger, I feel more frustrated." Then the old man explained and said, "In my understanding, Your Majesty, the reason is that you have never tried to control your emotions. No one should ever make hasty decisions in moments of anger or extreme joy. Take some time to think before responding. Maintain control of your emotions instead of allowing it to dictate your actions. My lord, the failure to control your emotions and actions is like the wind that blows on a ship without guidance that may drag it away from the harbor of peace and stability. Therefore, I advise you to tame your wild emotions and calm their storms before they destroy the pillars of your kingdom. Learn the art of second thoughts and conscious thinking before taking any action. Make a decision and listen to the voices of wisdom and analysis before listening to the screams of emotions. Right decisions are born from the mind and calm thinking, not from the storm of emotions that may sweep you to the shores of regret and loss. You must also be an example to your people by controlling your emotions and actions. Great leaders are the ones who can control themselves before they do control others, and always remember that true power lies in self-control. So listen to my advice, sir, and let your wisdom be your guide in every step you take. Peace and prosperity appear from within you before they are reflected in the surroundings around you." The king felt a kind of embarrassment, and at the same time he felt a kind of alertness. The king took the old man's words to his heart and began to practice patience and control his feelings and emotions. After a few days, he realized that by allowing himself to do so, he calmed down and was able to think more clearly about situations and make better decisions. The king began to remain calmer and more peaceful. He found himself that he could understand situations better and ruled his kingdom more effectively. The king found himself living a happier and more peaceful life. The king decided to thank the wise old man for his valuable advice. He went to him and said, "O wise man, your teachings have changed me. Now I have better control over my emotions and I make wiser decisions now. I am grateful to you indeed for your advice." The old man smiled kindly and said, "O king, you are not alone in facing these challenges. Many people face difficulty in controlling their impulses and tend to let their emotions guide their behavior. You must share this message with others and also encourage them to practice peace and patience to live a better life. And it is important to understand feelings like anger, happiness, and sadness come and go. They are just a part of life. We should not get carried away with these feelings. Instead, we should remember to remain calm and patient so that we can direct our lives and not be carried away by these fleeting feelings. As you can see in life, and in your life, we live in a busy, stressful, and exhausting world where emotions can often get the best of us, but we can learn how to control our emotions and use them to our advantage. We will find that in a world full of pressures and stressful situations, it may be easy to get involved in all the treatments. But by taking into account your feelings and learning to control them, you will be sure that you can control your emotions and make a positive change in your life. Emotions are natural and unavoidable, but they can also be harmful if we react to them without thinking and if we act rashly based on our emotions, and we may end up with regretting our actions later. So, in order to control our emotions, the first thing we need to do is identify our emotional triggers. Emotional triggers are things that make us feel angry or upset. These triggers can vary greatly from one person to another and can include memories of events or even words or specific actions. For example, someone's emotional trigger may be anger, such as when they are criticized at work or stuck in traffic. They are angry. Sadness may be triggered in another person when they see something that reminds them of a past trauma or loss. We can prepare to identify the emotional trigger that triggers you. You need to do something with some introspection. When we feel overwhelmed by our emotions, we need to stay in the present and observe them. We can use mindful techniques such as breathing or meditation to calm ourselves. We also need to pay attention to our thoughts, feelings, and sensations when we encounter our feelings. In this way, we can understand how we react and how to change our response. We can also find others' ways dealing with our emotions, such as taking a break, talking to a friend, or doing something. We need to remember that emotions are temporary and will pass. By being peaceful and patient, we can overcome life's difficulties without being governed by our emotions, and this will enable us to enjoy a comfortable life, a more fulfilling, peaceful, and free from stress and regret. This was the moral of this story. Thanks for watching and stay blessed.